Hello everyone, welcome back to the IndieGeekGuy channel, and this is your first time here, welcome to the Hannibal reactions. So last week we finished off Black Sails, it's in the books, and now we move on to Hannibal. And I was just thinking, it's weird how with Black Sails being a prequel to Treasure Island, and now we have Hannibal, which is a prequel to Red Dragon and Silence of the Lambs, etc, etc. And kind of for me, Firefly was a prequel to Serenity, because I'd already seen Serenity, so maybe that's just my thing. That's what I've fallen into. There's my niche right there. With that said, however, Hannibal being a prequel to the stories that we know, my relationship to it is that I've seen Red Dragon with Edward Norton and Anthony Hopkins. I've seen that many times. I've seen Hannibal a couple of times, the movie that Ridley Scott directed, I believe it was. I've not seen Silence in the Lambs all the way through. I've seen big chunks of it, but I've never watched it from beginning to end, and I've not considered really doing it for a video on the channel because I feel like too much of it would be familiar, so there wasn't much point in doing it. But who knows, maybe once I get to the end of this show, I'll go and treat myself and watch it, I guess. I don't know. So I am familiar with this world and the characters in it, and I'm interested to see how a TV show is going to do that and tackle those characters. Also, obviously, how the TV show is going to balance, like, this is Hannibal before he's in prison, it's before he's discovered, so how are they going to do the audience relationship with that character? Because we all know he's bad, and the characters don't know that he's bad yet, so I'm interested to see how this show is going to tackle that part of it, and how they're going to, you know, make that the through line, I guess. My hunch is that it's going to be kind of like part procedural, part like Hannibal and Will Graham's relationship and how that changes over time. But I'm excited to jump into this. I feel like it's going to be well, an interesting ride to say the least. Like I say, I think it's got many good things going for it as we come into this completely fresh. So yeah, I'm excited to jump into this one. Now, if you do enjoy this reaction and the review of the episode that happens afterwards, please consider hitting the thumbs up button. It helps me know you liked it, it helps it get seen by more people. Also consider subscribing so you don't miss any future videos, including the rest of this reaction series, and also gameplay and reviews and all sorts of other stuff that pop up on the channel. There are also social links down below, including the Discord server, so if you want to go hang out over there, please go click on that and help build that community. It's very small at the minute and we're just trying to build that up. But that's it. That's all the preamble. Let's jump into this first episode of Hannibal. Alright. Straight into crime scene, apparently. Okay. The pendulum swings. I'm assuming this is Will Graham, and this is his keying into the murderer's mind. This is cool. This is really cool how they're doing this. Like, resetting everything.
I shoot Mr. Marlowe twice, severing jugulars and carotids with near surgical precision. He will die watching me take what is his away from him.
I feel like I need to sneeze, and this is a really awkward time to do it.
I shoot Mrs. Marlowe expertly through the neck. This is not a fatal wound. The bullet misses every artery. She's paralyzed before it leaves her body.
So we're dealing with some sort of sharpshooter. This is really cool. It's a really visceral and visual way of showing what he's good at doing.
Now think about killing Mrs. Marlowe. Tell me your design. Tell me who you are.
Alright, so he was on a crime scene, and now he's relaying that crime scene to a class, I assume.
I can empathize with anybody. It's less to do with a personality disorder than an active imagination.
Can I borrow your imagination?
Yeah, I think he was worried about you asking that.
1 through 7 are dead, don't you think? He's not keeping them around. He got himself a new one.
So we focus on Elise Nichols.
And we're really hitting the ground running here, huh? Straight in to mass abduction case.
He's like Willy Wonka. Every girl he takes is a candy bar, and hidden in amongst all of those candy bars is the one true intended victim, which, if we follow through...
That's a creepy way of putting it. That's a creepy way of putting it. I already feel tense. Everything's making me feel tense already. Maybe it's the mass abduction and murder and just all the bad things happening at once. That's done that.
How's your cat? Elise was supposed to feed it. Was the cat weird when you came home?
I didn't notice.
Someone feeding the cat? Someone feeding the cat? Is that what he's getting at?
She came home, she fed the cat. And he took
Okay. That makes a little bit more sense. Like, I thought we were going with someone still feeding the cat, even though she's gone.
Elise, I need you to leave.
He knew. He knew she was going to be there. Is he going to get his murderer vision on? See what happened? Here we go. Yeah, this would be an unpleasant mindset to find yourself in, wouldn't it?
Strict screening procedures.
Detects instability. You unstable?
Who are you, lady?
I found antler velvet.
What are you doing?
Like she was gored.
Why are you prodding him with a stick?
You think he was trying to heal her?
He wanted to undo as much as he could.
There was something wrong with her, maybe? Well, I already feel bad for Will's frame of mind. Like, comparing this to the movie with Edward Norton, like, I feel like this character is much more disturbed than that version.
Winston, this is everybody. Everybody, this is Winston.
Is he collecting strays? He's just collecting stray dogs? They just all wander around the same road. Doesn't like people though, I guess, so it makes sense. God. Oh, what's happening? Oh, Jesus. Why? Why are we doing this? Okay, show. Okay. Let's, less of that. It might be visually cool, but I wasn't prepared. Right, he's having full-blown hallucinations now. He's been on the case for like 1 day and is escalating. And why does this room look like The Shining? Why does
Use
this...
the ladies' room!
Okay!
My judgment.
He doesn't want these girls to suffer. He kills them quickly and, to his thinking, with mercy.
Why is that so much more creepy than a normal psychopath? I will say at this stage, I'm kind of expecting, like, obviously this being Hannibal, that the person that they're chasing is probably going to be a cannibal, right?
I got you.
That's where my head is at. So I'm just sort of putting puzzle pieces together in that way, that this girl he returned must have not been right for some reason or purpose. I don't know. Speculating.
Promise me something, Jack. Don't let him get too close.
He won't.
I think he already is.
Get too close.
I think he's already too close. Like, he's seeing blood in the sink is already bad. Stop with this crazy shit. Like, I was not prepared for these kind of visual. Oh! Antlers?
She was mounted on them. She may have been bled.
Great. Lovely. That's lovely.
Took it out, and then, yeah, he put it back in.
There's something wrong with the meat.
Is that right?
He has liver cancer.
He's eating them.
Yeah, well, I don't want to jump and be like, I was right, I'm a genius. Because this being Hannibal, I thought that would make sense. There he is. The Chief Lector. Although I don't think it's Hannibal. I don't think our killer is Hannibal. I think it's someone else. I think that's going to piss him off. He's going to eat him. He's going to eat him.
You have to convince yourself the lion is not in the room. When it is, I assure you, you will know.
Well, that felt like a threat. That definitely felt like a threat.
So, may I ask how this is all about me?
You can ask, but I may have to ask you a few questions first.
His place looks like
You expecting another
Dracula's house from like the Hammer horror movies.
Learned very early a scalpel cuts better points than a pencil sharpener. I'm beginning to suspect you're investigating me, Agent Crawford.
He was getting ready. He was getting ready to defend himself if he had to with that pencil.
I need you to help me with a psychological profile.
Alright, I'm guessing he's going to bring in Hannibal to look at Will.
Your values and decency are present, yet shocked at your associations. Appalled at your dreams.
Whose profile are you working on?
Yeah, he's piecing this together.
Don't psychoanalyze me. You won't like me when I'm psychoanalyzed.
Is Bruce Banner now?
I have to go give a lecture.
That's funny.
This cannibal, you have him getting to know. I think I can help Goodwill see his face.
Oh, I bet you can. I bet you can, pal. Yeah, I'm still fairly convinced that the cannibal that they're after is not Hannibal himself, and that's not a great thing to start the next scene on, is it?
Where did all his love go? Whoever tucked Elise Nichols into bed didn't paint this picture.
Dealing with two people. Dealing with two. One is probably Hannibal. Okay, well, I think that solved that mystery, didn't it?
She's an only child. She's leaving home. He can't stand the thought of losing her.
What about the copycat?
Very hard to catch. There's no traceable motive. There'll be no patterns. He may never kill this way again.
I feel like Dr. Lecter is doing this purposely to try and see if he can get you off the scent. Like, this is some kind of test he's set out just to see what you'll do in response.
A little protein scramble to start the day. Some eggs, some sausage.
That ain't sausage. Don't lie to us. That ain't sausage. Oh, boy.
That's delicious, thank you.
Oh, boy.
I don't find you that interesting.
You will.
Alrighty. Well, that's foreboding. That's foreboding right there. I can't tell if Hannibal is, like, fascinated by him or he's torturing him. Or both.
Peeking behind the curtain.
Like, playing with him in his own way. This is so fortuitous for Hannibal to be working from the inside out. Like, I can see all their tricks and how to avoid them from now on, even though he's already perfectly capable. He has even more info now.
Does Mr. Hobbs have a daughter?
Might have.
What is it about Garrett Jacob Hobbs you find so peculiar?
Left a phone number, no address.
Doesn't want to be found.
Mr. Garrett Jacob Hobbs. You don't know me, and I suspect we'll never meet. This is a courtesy call. Listen very carefully.
You warning him?
They know.
Okay, he's straight up warning him. Straight up warning him. Again, I don't know if he's doing it to be helpful or if he's doing it to torture people. Who knows? Oh no. Oh no, did he kill like his family? That seemed like a flash forward to horribleness. I looked away for like 2 seconds. Oh my god, he got the shot? He hit the shot! I was not expecting him to. Oh god. That's fixable, right? Oh god, that's squirting out! Oh no! Fuck, Hannibal's just like this predator, just like like stalking around, watching this all unfold. Okay, she's alive. But what problems is this going to cause going forward? I feel like it will. Oh, there we go. That's the end of episode 1. Jeez. Okay, that was episode 1 of Hannibal, and my notes make me look like a crazy person. So I got sharpshooter, dog, abduction girls, candy bars, 2 killers, shining bathroom, and then names of characters. So let's talk about the very beginning first, like the whole he was talking through a crime scene which turned out to be a class he was teaching, but it looked like it was a crime scene that he was actually on at some point, and he is sort of giving it to the class to work and study. I feel like that crime scene's going to come back into it again, maybe, possibly, because we never actually saw an answer to it, so maybe it was a case that he didn't solve, or he couldn't solve. I mean, it felt evident that whoever the killer was in that scenario must have been a good shot, because they were purposely landing non-fatal blows, but like paralyzing blows with a gun, which, you know, I imagine to be that precise would be kind of difficult. But yeah, it feels like that's going to come back around somehow, and that Will's not been able to solve it, and maybe that's why he's handing out us to a classroom of people, like maybe someone else's perspective will be able to put it together, but I don't know, speculation. But it was an interesting way to sort of just introduce the character and sort of show how his empathy can lead him to go too deep, and his headspace can become clouded, and maybe his judgment can get blinded by certain things. You know, it was an interesting visual way of showing all that. We then quickly moved on to a case of a bunch of abducted girls about the same age, same height, all of them very similar. At first, it felt like we were slowly leaning towards, oh, this is going to be setting up Hannibal. But as more details got revealed, I felt like, no, this is too specific. So I feel like we're definitely dealing with someone else who isn't Hannibal. Just going off the knowledge of that character I already know, I feel like Hannibal isn't a character who would have patterns, or at least not obvious ones. So, and I feel like that's going to be a big part of the show moving forward, is Will maybe slowly sort of getting to see what those patterns are, but we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, I definitely felt like we were dealing with a different person in this scenario. And there was something that was just really disturbing about how they were laying that out with this particular killer. I didn't get his name, so I didn't write it down, unfortunately, but I kind of appreciated that we had that set up and then solved in the case of who was it and what happened to them within this first episode. It wasn't stretched out, but I feel like the consequences of this event are gonna sort of be felt as the show goes on. At first, I did kind of think that maybe Hannibal knew this other cannibal killer, but then it was very quickly revealed that they don't know each other, but Hannibal took it upon himself to warn him that they were going to be coming for him, which was an interesting touch, because again, with Hannibal, you don't really know if what he's doing and why he's doing it at this point. Like, it feels like it could be multiple things. Like, is he just toying with people? Is he torturing them? Is he just trying to figure people out? I mean, he is a psychologist, or whatever. I think it's a psychologist in this case. I get those mixed up, but he just could be analyzing people and their behaviors, and he's just interested, especially now he's got this doorway to the behind the curtain of the FBI, and he can sort of learn how to get away with what he's doing even easier now. And obviously meeting Will has fascinated him for some reason, like the way that he can empathize with everyone around him, and that feels like the biggest building block for the show moving forward, that their relationship, how they're gonna like suss each other, where that's gonna go, all of that stuff. Dogs. Will has a lot of dogs, makes sense, doesn't like being social, doesn't like talking to people, so he has dogs for company to maybe try and keep him in a calmer headspace. But then we got treated to some just bleak visuals. Well, I wasn't expecting the show to go for the sort of, you know, gothic, not nostalgia, that's the wrong word, gothic sort of hallucinations of stuff, like his mind painting pictures in these really artsy kind of ways. I don't know why, I just wasn't expecting them to go all out with that kind of thing. So it generally took me by surprise the first time it happened. I figured we would be getting a visualization of him sort of getting into the mindset, and I thought it was going to be basically like we saw at the start, like he's just sort of replaying events from the killer's point of view and showing how that affects his mind. But then we get all these other hallucinations, like the blood in the sink and the dead body next to him in bed. All that stuff, just wasn't expecting it. Generally, like, got me a little bit. Which also leads me on to the bathroom scene, which was hilarious when Jack tells the other guy to get out. Get out of here. Use the woman's bathroom. I'm talking here. But I did feel like that the design of that set, or wherever they went to film it, if they filmed it in a real place, but it felt very purposefully designed to look like The Shining bathroom. Again, I mean, if you know The Shining, it just builds up that atmosphere of Will sort of losing his thoughts. Like, he's not like in control of himself anymore, like something else is taking over. And, you know, it brings up those feelings, but that's only if you know The Shining. If you don't know The Shining, it's probably just like, well, that's a red bathroom. But personally, I feel like that was a purposeful choice that they made to make the bathroom look that way. I don't know. Try not to spoil things in comments, but if you know that's a fact or not, I'd be interested to know. But yeah, it seemed like that's what it came across to me. That's my instant thought, was this looks like The Shining bathroom. But yeah, my lasting thought of this first episode is just how willing they're going to push things into making it feeling disturbing. Just like to really, it's like the whole thing is Will's empathy, and this episode did a lot of groundwork to get you into that. Like, you need to understand how Will's mind works in order for the show to sort of progress, and for you to be related to his struggle. And I felt this episode did a really good job of just like really putting you in his shoes, like making you understand his troubles when it comes to empathizing with, well, they describe them as monsters and stuff in this episode, but he has a slight reluctance to calling them evil minds and stuff because he can't help himself. He empathizes with them, and he feels like he would be guilty by association for thinking the same way that they do. And it's interesting. It's definitely an interesting setup for where we could go, especially with the relationship between him and Hannibal and where that could go. But like all the other disturbing details, like the way Will describes certain things that the killer is doing, like describing them as candy bars, just like ugh. It just makes me go yuck. I did kind of call it on the whole thing with the girl being like damaged or not suited for purpose when she was returned, but at that point I'd started to be like, I was like trying to keep up with everything that was going on, and then suddenly, because Hannibal hadn't been on screen at all at that point, I'd sort of forgotten that it was a Hannibal show. And then when I sort of reminded in my own head that it was, oh, we're probably dealing with a cannibal, that's probably what's going on here, and maybe it's Hannibal, maybe it's not. But then I started piecing together, maybe there was something wrong with her, and that's why she was returned. And that turned out to be the case, that she was spoiled goods apparently, and he felt bad and had to return her, and sort of showing the main difference, I suppose, that what that is doing is showing the difference between Hannibal and his tendencies, and how he doesn't have a pattern, how he doesn't empathize or sympathize, I suppose is the better word, and he doesn't have these kind of like apologetic tendencies, whereas this other killer does. So it's showing like a clear difference between what they're dealing with Hannibal. I assume at some point in the show, Hannibal's actual identity will be given to Will and other characters and such, and they'll figure that out because, prequel and all that. But I don't know, it's going to be an interesting journey, I think, and I think this episode did a good job of setting that up, and especially since he doesn't come into the episode till, I think, over halfway through, which was an interesting choice, but I think the right one, because I think Will is the important character for you to set up first in order to get an idea of the headspace of him, but also just the show of itself, just to get on board with what it's going for. And obviously the obvious reason is that we all know who Hannibal is at the end of the day. I always assume most people would know who and what Hannibal is. So the moment you introduce him, you already know he's a villain. You already know he's the bad guy of the piece. So it's just a case of how do you introduce that in a new way and make you feel like, oh god, where's this gonna go? Oh, which it did. So the main characters I picked up on here were obviously Jack, played by Lawrence Fishburne, which is fun to see him in a TV show like this. Will, Hannibal, obviously. Then we had, I think her name was Alana, who was someone who is friends with Will, and Jack wanted her to sort of keep an eye on him and do a profile on him, but she didn't want to. She didn't want to have that kind of relationship, which led him to then get Hannibal. So I'm interested to see how she's going to factor in as we go on. She had a very small part here, but I figure that's going to get bigger as the show goes on. Maybe she'll become suspect of Hannibal, who knows? She's already showing that she's worried about where Will is at the end of the first episode. Like, she's already concerned that he's too deep on his dive down this tunnel that Jack has put him on. So yeah, a lot has been set up in this first episode, but I enjoyed it. It was a good opener. It sets the stage pretty perfectly. Lots of interesting visuals. I'm interested to see where the characters go and all that good stuff. It was like a mile a minute in that opening segment. I was like, where are we going? What's going on? I feel like all this information that's being thrown at me is important and I have to retain it somehow. But as it went along, I started to sit into it a bit more comfortably, shall we say. But maybe it's because after doing Black Sails, I was used to 60 minutes of television and being able to breathe and everything, whereas this is like 40, just over. So they're cramming a lot more in a shorter space of time. So maybe that's what that is. But we'll see. We'll see as the next episodes go. But no, enjoyed it. It was a good opener. Good questions to open on. Yeah, and interested to see where it's going to be going next. So yeah, stick with us and we'll keep going with Hannibal. Thank you for watching this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up button. It helps to know you liked it. It helps it get seen by more people. Also, consider subscribing so you don't miss any more videos, including the rest in this series. but there's also gameplay, reviews. Been doing Resident Evil 2, so go check that out as well. So yeah, all that good stuff on the channel. But for now, thank you for watching this one, and I will catch you on the next one.